Greetings, I'm Barrett. Welcome to Meet Me at the Table. Today we're going to do a quick unboxing of Threetale by Borderia Games. It's going to be about 1 to 3, well it says 1 or 3 players, and that's because you have to control 3 heroes in this game. So the way they think of it is you can either play it solo with all 3, or if you had 3 people, each one controls 1. I don't see how you, or why you wouldn't be able to do 1 player and then somebody controls 2 if you wanted to. It takes about 2 hours to play for 14 plus. In this game, you're going to be taking on the role of some heroes in the past, and they're going to be doing a lot of things in the past. Once that part of the game is done, something is going to unveil itself, and you're going to have to then deal with something that is going to happen in the future. So everything you're doing in the past is to prepare you to jump into the future and take on a particular grip from a particular evil or something of some kind that is gripping the area. So that is how this game all plays out. We're going to do an unboxing of both of these. This is the expansion that came with the game. This is, from what I understand, really just more characters and different future events that you're going to have to take care of. And this is the core game. Now, full disclosure, this is Colin's copy. I will also have a full disclosure of the fact that we're not exactly sure what copy this is. If it's a fully backed pledge or if this was given to us by the company. We can't really dig up the information on it. This game did back in 2021, so we're not exactly sure. We can't remember if we did back it or if it's something the company gave us, so I apologize for that. But let's get to unboxing Threetale, and we'll see what this game has in store. And if you're excited to do that, then I need you to meet me at the table. Let's go ahead and see what is inside Threetale, the core box. Of course, we do start with a set of punch boards that do have a lot of the tiles we're going to be using in this game. It does have multiple books. We have a rule book and a future book. And like I said during the intro, as you play through the game, you're going to do a whole section in the past, but then you're going to have to deal with the future, and how you set up and deal with the future is all found in this book. And there are many different ones you're going to be able to uncover and have to deal with. I'm not going to show too much of the future book because I do not want to spoil too much of that. But of course, we do have a rule book that looks like it's not too bad. Oh, it's got some really big print, which is going to be pretty good. It's only about 30 pages long with a lot of diagrams and helpful information in order to tell you how to play the game. I'm super excited. Just glancing at it, I think this rule book looks pretty good. We also have our hero boards. Let's take a look at those. The different heroes are the youngest son, and I do want to mention that each board is completely different, so depending on what character you decide to play, it's going to have different skills that you're going to be able to unlock as you place cubes going forward that you collect during the past phase. They also have a different set of starting attributes each one of these does. So we do have the youngest son, we have the Queen of Living Water, we have the Silver Deer, the Unborn Maiden, we have Sun and Moon, and then we have the Starred Boy, and last but not least, the Vampire's Bride. Now, if we quickly look at the Vampire Bride, I want to show you a little bit about what this board you're seeing here. Like I said, first off, you have your starting attributes, which are located by the outlined white cubes here. On top of that, we have our speed, which is going to be able to help us move around the board during it and be able to collect things as we go forward. We have different virtues, which is, I believe, what these are down here. The first one is love. This is how many dice you're going to roll when having to deal with checks or in combat or things of that nature. The next we have hope, which we can use this resource to turn dice that are not hits or successes into successes. We have faith that allows us to draw extra cards, and the cool thing is they do have the iconography of each of these up here on the top. That gives you a good idea, helps you show what these all are going to do. The next one is endeavor, which allows you to perform extra actions during your turn. Then we have endurance and mercy. Endurance is going to allow you to increase some of your stats, where mercy is going to help you increase the stats of some of your other heroes that are with you on the board. Now remember, you do have to play with 3 people no matter what. So you are going to want to potentially put some in here because then you can help out a lot of your friends. I do want to mention that this is, of course, a 100% cooperative game. And going forward, once I get done with the unboxing, I'm going to be handing this back to Colin. He is going to be doing a playthrough of this. So please stick around and watch that in the future. Also on the side of the player board, we're going to be able to place certain cards. We can get quests that we can do. Successfully completing quests will give us resources or potentially help advance our tracks on certain skills. We also are going to gain some bonus cards as we go forward. They're going to go into this slot. And then we can upgrade our hands, our feet, and our head with different accessories or artifacts moving forward in the game. So that is what you're seeing on the player board. Like I said, every player board has different skills that you're going to be able to upgrade as you go through, which is going to change a lot of how the game is going to develop for those characters. Now, the interesting thing is that you sometimes don't want to pick characters based on what they look like and how cool they are, because once you learn what potentially could be coming in the future, you might want to pick a character that is geared for that particular thing. So say it talks about how you're going to have to do combat, and I'll probably show you a few of those cards to show you what I'm talking about. But say you have a combat heavy card, this character might not be the best because they don't roll a lot of dice in combat or anything like that. But maybe you might want to pick somebody like the Unborn Maiden who starts at 2 and it's going to go up the track as it goes forward. So it might start with a better skills for a particular future mission coming up. On top of that, as you see, there are different levels of shaded numbers here. And when it comes to like the amount of times you can use a certain skill, it's going to be based on a threshold. It's not based on the actual number, except of course for this stat here, it goes up and down. Whatever number it's on, that's how many dice you get to roll. So that's just a quick overview of the player boards. And I do want to mention on the back, it does show you a little bit about each of the characters and what they're good at: fighter, support, mobile. So this is a very mobile character. It can gather a lot. So if you had a mission coming up that's going to have to do with mobile and gathering, that's great. This one's really good at support and gathering and talented as well. But like I said, you're going to maybe find one that's a fighter. The youngest son looks like a good fighter. Who else is a good fighter? The Unborn Maiden's a good fighter. And well, I guess I'm wrong. I guess the Vampire Bride is a good fighter. I bet some of the abilities she gets does help in that aspect. I didn't look through those very well. Even though I said she's not good because you don't get a lot of dice, but I could be totally wrong. Again, haven't played the game, so I'm super excited to dig into what's going to happen. And there are 3, 6, 7, 8 different characters here. What, 3, 6, 7? Nope, I can barely count. We have 7 characters, and there are going to be some of the expansions that I will show soon. Next, we'll take a quick look at the punch boards. The first thing you see, of course, are the different tiles that are going to be used during what I understand the past phase of the game. You'll be uncovering these tiles, placing them down, and doing actions on these tiles. And as you can see, there are little circular areas here and cubes. These little boxes here are where you're going to put different cubes that you're going to be able to collect that you can use to upgrade your character. As you can tell, the punch boards are really well done. These things are coming out really easily. We do have some of the different tokens we're going to use. These are treasure tokens up here, and they're bronze, silver, and gold, or first, second, third level type things. These are different quests. And of course, as you can see on the tiles themselves, it shows you what to place there. So I'd put a level 3 treasure, and I'll show you a few of those as we get closer to there. Also, there is going to be symbols for fighting. You're going to be able to take on enemies as well in the past phase that can then give you artifacts or things that can help advance your character. We also have on the punch board some sacred stones right up here, and let's look at another one. They're all going to be very similar. We have the same thing here, and some have already fallen out. These are the enemies level 1, 2, and 3. We have damage tokens here that come in multiple versions. We have 1 damage, we have 2 damage, 5 damage, 10 damage, and again, more sacred stones up here and more of these tiles that are just falling out. Some of the other things you see on here, these are portals, I believe. I think you can move between different portals. And as you notice, each of these are like 4 by 4. So it's not just you place them on the tile. You're going to be moving around on these tiles so you could move through these. And these hedges are going to block your movement as you go forward. And each turn, from how I understand it, you're going to be placing down a new tile in an orthogonal area from a tile that is previously on the board. And we'll see, I'll show you a little bit more about that as we go forward. And of course, you'll see it in Colin's playthrough as well. Let's continue on. These are going to be, I'll bet these are some of the bad guys. And I think it does come with a tutorial, which is right here. Here's the tutorial one you're going to be able to take on. It has a little synopsis of it. And the prophecy quest, if a hero has 5, I believe that's one of the stats. When the past phase ends, the hero is going to gain one of these sacred tokens. So it does give you a boon if you're able to complete something going into the future area that you're going to have to deal with. These are how difficult the mission is based on what you're doing. It's a very strong strong, supporting, and fight-heavy mission that not very mobile, and it doesn't have a lot of talents that you have to deal with. So those are so when you're picking your characters to go into this particular adventure, you're going to want to build them based on that. But of course, everyone's a little bit different. I'm not really wanting to show too much of what this one could be, but as you can see, they're all going to be a little bit different based on what you decide to do. And it's going to have a little extra thing here on how you can get your sacred tokens and things of that nature. So these are the enemies that you're going to be facing in the future. And on top of that, each one comes with a box that you're going to unlock when you go to that particular future event that you're going to have to do. There are, I believe, up to 7 of them, including a prelude or a tutorial box that you can do, which I believe is the one that Colin will be doing. So take a look coming forward. They do have miniatures for the end area that you're going to be going into, the future. This is one of the miniatures you're going to be facing. I'm not sure what this one is. This might be one of them as well. We are dealing with a tree. These are the player miniatures down here. These are all the different characters that are found in the game. Let's take a look at those real quick. And as you can tell, they're kind of small, but that's okay because they're just going to be out on those little tiles moving around, very Seventh Continent type-ish with these little tiles that you're going to be moving around on. But here are all the heroes in the game that you're going to be able to play with, which is kind of cool. Now, I think there's one that should be a dual figure or something. I don't know why. Oh, yeah, here. I think this one's right here. See how it has just half of a moon symbol here? That's half the figure, and it goes in this little, into the thing here. And the other half is in here as well because it's the 2 characters that were both on the card. All right, we'll look at those. These are, I believe, some of the other enemies that you're going to be facing and could also be things you're going to be placing on the board as you play through the game that are going to symbolize different things. Like we have some doors, we have a throne, we have the ship. Now, I believe, again, these are all very end game things. These are things that are going to happen in the future that you have to deal with. Looks like we have like a 5-headed serpent. We've got maybe a throne of stone or something, or maybe a throne of swords. I don't know. We have a door that maybe we have to, or a shrine or a fountain maybe that we're going to have to deal with in the future based on which one we get. And to figure out which person you're facing in the future, you're going to be drawing the cards at the beginning of the game called the prophecy phase. There are 3 prophecy cards in here. I'm hoping to find them eventually so I can show you what those are. Let's dig out all of these cards and maybe we will find our prophecy cards. Before we do, I do want to say we have some standee tokens here, which might be for something that are found inside of these boxes. We also have all the different cubes that we can gain for ourselves and for the enemies, I believe, going forward. Here are the dice. I am going to show you the dice because they are custom and they're unique. I think they're 50-50 dice is what they are. So you have 1, 2, 3 sides that are blank, and you have 1, 2, 3 sides that are good. And I believe they are all the same. Every one of these dice is exactly the same. And you're going to be able to roll the amount of dice equal to your track that you saw on your character boards. Here are some of the white cubes. These are the ones that are going to go on the character boards themselves that are going to denote how far they are doing on the different skills. The red ones, from what I understand, are going to be the ones that are going to be going into these areas here, expanding the character's abilities on their player boards, which is really kind of cool. And these, I believe, are going to be used for maybe the heroes and for the villains. We'll see how it all transpires. I still don't see any of the cards that are going to help me with the actual game, but we'll take a look at the cards we have. Maybe they're found inside of these. So the first thing we're going to talk about is how much of an idiot I am sometimes when it comes to the unboxings. These are the prophecy cards. So you're going to shuffle these up and draw 3. Once you know what the 3 potential prophecies are, that's when you could choose to pick your characters. Once you get done with the past phase, then again, you're going to shuffle the 3 that you have up and flip it over, and that is the future that you have to try to prevent. So that's how these cards work, and I apologize when no, they're not in here. Yep, they're in my hand. The first set of cards I have are the enemy cards. They're going to be from level 3 to level 1. I'm going to show you one of them right here and tell you a little bit about it. This is the Cunning Goldfish. He's super cunning. Over here you see the stats. This is the speed. Now it's not how far it moves on the board. You're going to check this speed versus yours to see who attacks first in the game. If you have a higher speed value, you get to go first. Same or lower, then the enemy will go first. Then it has its defense. For when you go to fight the enemy, you're going to roll your dice. For every success, it's going to be against its defense. So if you get 5 successes, doesn't mean you did 5 damage. It still has 1 health left or 1 defense left. And then it has its attack here, which is 4. It's going to roll its 4 dice, and for every success, it's going to be able to wound you. Now, I didn't talk about your health. In this game, you have 3 spirit. When you get damaged by an enemy from at any time, you first can choose to either take the damage and lower your virtues by the amount of damage in any order you want to. I could lose like 1 in this column and 2 in this column or something or so forth. If you don't want to, you can avoid all the damage or soak it all up by removing 1 spirit. You only have 3 spirit. If you ever lose after that, then the game, you have lost the game, which is no good. Now, of course, there are some rewards over on the side here. This would give you a level 1 artifact and give you 2 points towards the skills in the middle here that you can slowly unlock. So defeating this character would get you closer to unlocking some of these extra skills, which is cool. So every enemy is a little bit different. Some of them are going to be able to get bonus cards. For example, these down here are getting 1 bonus card, which then you would draw from these decks here. Here's the bonus cards, giving them either 2 more defense or an extra attack or +2 speed. You're going to draw those randomly and see what extra they have. Now, of course, we also have those as well, and some things might give us the ability to draw some of these cards that are going to help us out in the future that, of course, are going to go over in this section of your board on the bonus card section. Next, there are different types of quests. These are not in any specific order. It's not like a 1, 2, and 3 level quest. But I'm going to show you one. This one says from the land above, or below, I mean. So you're going to have to do this. Win 5 battles, and then I get to take 1 level 3 artifact and 1 of those stones, which are going to be very powerful at the end game from how I understand it. And it does have a little bit of flavor text about it as well. So you're going to put this with you. You have your quest over here on your board. You're going to try to complete that quest in the past that then will help you in the future. So then you're going to find those out on those tiles. If you decide to take an action in the quest area, you can grab a quest card and remove the token from the board. Next, we have the treasure cards. If you're ever in the past and you land on a treasure space or use your action there, you can draw a treasure card. You're going to pick up one of your treasure cards, look at it, and then you're going to have to roll 3 dice. Depending on the amount of successes you get, you're going to get a specific reward. So if I had 0, I would get this reward. If I had 1 to 2, I'd get this reward, and 3 would give me this reward. Now, as the treasures go farther up here, it's going to be harder. Some of them are actually going to even deal you damage as you go forward because you didn't get any successes. And the harder the treasure is to get, that's where you're going to be able to use some of your hope. Your hope then can change the dice to successes, giving you a better threshold on what treasures you're able to get. So that's a good way to keep that stat going, is to be able to help you get treasures, being able to flip those dice to get the treasure you want. So you need this really badly to get your next ability. You only got 2. Then you could use one of your hope in order to get this to 3, so you can gain 1 more level on your board that you can unlock in a thing right before maybe you go to the very end of the game and need that skill. Lastly, we have treasure decks. They go from 1 to 3. This one right here, for example, is a level 1, and it's only able to be used once, and it's going to be able to add this to it. So you're going to be able to gain this 3 to that specific skill, and it's going to be slotted into your headpiece. Now, I believe once this is used, it still stays there. I'm not exactly sure, but if you ever decide to remove it, you would lose the ability that this gives you. I could be wrong about that. Some are going to have more than one-time uses, and some are even going to be better for certain characters. For example, this one is going to inflict 3 damage, but if you're using the sun and moon, those 2 characters that are together that we saw, it's going to inflict 4. So this is a better weapon for them. And of course, during the game, you can trade items and things and artifacts to characters. As long as you're close to them in the game or on the same space or on the same tile, you're able to trade these artifacts with them. So if you had that character and somebody else drew it, give it to them. That's going to be great. There are levels 1 through 3 artifacts, so there are a whole ton of artifacts in here that are going to help you moving into the end game. The rest of the game is all going to be found inside the future book that we're going to discover as we play through the game. I don't want to dig into this too much, but do know that from what I understand, the future is then going to start dissolving the past and removing some of those tiles, even though you're still kind of moving around on them, and you're going to have to defeat whatever is part of your objective in there. It could be a main monster, or it could be something maybe you need to collect. I'm not exactly sure. I haven't looked through this, but it'd be really cool to see multiple ways of having to deal with how you're supposed to end the game and hopefully end in victory. And like I said, there are 7 different endings in this, or 7 different and possible futures that you have to deal with, and those are all going to be based on whatever card is drawn after you have completed the past. This has a lot of cool potential, and it's really neat that you're never going to know what exactly you're going to have to deal with at the end. So you have to really work hard at making sure your character is balanced for whatever is coming based on, say you drew 3 different ones, but all of them have to do with combat. That means it'd be nice to have a very combat heavy character, but you may be lacking in some of the other ones, and it might have a lot. One might be very good in supporting, one might be good in gathering, gathering, one might be good in consistency. So again, maybe picking people that are all really good at fighting, but then all individually be able to be good in one of these other skills so that you have a good set of characters moving into the end. I don't know how it's all going to play out. We're going to have to find out. And like I said, Colin will be doing a playthrough of this coming up very soon. Now, this is just the core box. I'm going to quickly show you what's in the expansion. Moving into the expansion, we'll see what is in store here. Again, we're going to have a future book I'm not going to look into. This is probably a pretty quick box to look through because I believe, like I said, it's just going to be 3 more heroes and 3 more potential futures that you're going to have to deal with. Let's quickly look at the boards. We have the wheat bread. We have this character here, Craylee Marco, and the blind girl. And again, in the back, it'll show you kind of what they're going to be good at and a little bit about each character. So again, gives you ideas of looking at what you might need when having to deal with the potentials of what is coming up in the future. So those are our 3 new characters. This one, wow, 0s across the board, but it has some 3s. This one's straight 0s across the board, but it's really fast, huh? These are really going to be interesting in play. All right, well, that's oh, look at how slow this character is. Well, I guess she's blind. It would be a little bit tough to be running blind through the woods, but maybe I'm wrong. We'll put those aside. We do have some new artifacts that are going to be part of this particular expansion that I believe either they're going to be for this, for using those characters, or you're going to mix them in with some of the ones coming up. We have take 2 of these, and I'll bet we have ones that are going to be specific for those characters moving forward. If you're like if you're one of the characters, there might be specific ones in here that are going to be good for them. Again, we'll have to, I'm not going to look through them all. And here are the end things for 3 of these new ones that you're going to deal with. I am going to show you one because I could have covered them all up, but this is the last blacksmith. Gives you a little bit of story as to what's going on and the quest that goes along with the prophecy and what you're going to need, of course, for it. And there are 3 different ones: the real man, the end tunnel, and the blast blacksmith. And those are the boxes that go with them. And in these boxes are going to be specific tokens for that. The rules for all of the things that are going to happen in this are found in here. And this is a pretty thick book. I shouldn't say thick book, but there's a lot to it when it comes to setting this up. So it's a whole, it seems to me like you're going to be playing a whole game of building your character. And then the future is really going to be yet again a whole nother game that you're going to be having to do to deal with the ending, which sounds really cool. I think this is going to be a really fun time. I'm excited to see Colin play through this and then maybe borrow it from him. I might do my own playthrough. Because I think this is going to be really, really fun. So again, I knew that was going to be a really quick part because there's only 3 characters and 3 endings or futures that you're going to have to deal with. But that is Threetale, the expansion called Moonglow. And of course, we have our core box as well, Threetale. That is going to be it. I hope you enjoyed the unboxing of Threetale. This is, again, going to be super fun. I'm excited to see how Colin is going to play through it. I think it has a lot of potential. If you did enjoy the unboxing, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell symbol so you know when the playthrough comes out. Also, please feel free to leave anything in the comments below. I would love to hear from everyone. Also, if you're interested in supporting the channel, you can check out the Patreon. The link to that is also found in the description of this video. Those that have joined the Patreon are found here on the screen. Thank you so much for your patronage. It means the world to me. And those that are joined the Patreon do get a few perks. One of them is any playthroughs we do, we try to push them onto the Patreon, usually about a day or 2 before they go live without commercial interruptions. On top of that, we give the Patrons the ability to potentially vote for some of the characters we use in our upcoming games, or give us a chance of expanding what they're going to be doing in the game, like upgrading certain skills or picking certain items, because I like to have my patrons have a say in how the games develop moving forward. So there you have it. That is Threetale. I'm excited to see how this game unfolds. And if you're excited to see Threetale or anything else that Colin and I have coming up, then I need you to meet me at the table.